Hey guys, what's up? It's Audra and welcome back to my YouTube channel and another episode of Chat with Audra. So today there's no particular layout or format, I guess I would say, to this episode other than I just wanted to talk about getting older. So as you guys know, I turned 23 this month on July 11th. And I feel like I always do a video where I'm like, things I learned when I turned 22 or blah, blah, blah. And I was planning on doing that this year and making that this episode. But to be honest, I couldn't think of like 23 specific new things that I learned in my life this year. But the thing that I thought about the most was how different this birthday felt and this year felt from every other year of my life. So I think to start it all off, being 23, there were a lot of like changes in the past year of my life. Number one, moved into my own apartment, have been in a relationship for a year. It's just like big adult things that you don't like think about until it's your birthday. And I feel like the weird thing about turning 23 is it's like such a weird age, and I feel like I was much more excited to turn 21, and I was much more scared to turn 22. Where now that I'm like 23, I'm just kind of like, okay, it's another year. Even though I feel like I've accomplished a lot in like this year. Like I'm like, I got my own apartment. I've been in a happy, successful relationship. I got a dog. I did this. Like, you know, it's like these big life changes that I feel like don't feel like much. And I feel like when I turned 23, I was like, I didn't do anything this year. And I don't know if it's just like, as you get older, the expectations that you have for yourself are much higher, or at least that's what happens to me. So I guess I feel like I felt a little underwhelmed when I turned 23, where I was just like, I feel like there was nothing that I did this year of importance, which obviously there was. But I just like wonder, as you get older, if there's just like this thing inside your brain that's like, if you don't accomplish the most amazing thing in your life in the next 3 years, it's gonna be too late. And obviously that's like incorrect and not a good way to think about it. But that's what goes through my brain. And I think it's because of the type of job I have, where it's like, there's people who are like, think about Olivia Rodrigo and Tate McRae, who are like 20, 21 years old, who are doing these insane things. And I'm like, man, I'm 23 and I haven't done that. And I think it is the industry. But I think it's just like a sense of like self-worth that you start to develop as you get older, where you're like, when you're younger and you're doing these crazy things, you're like, no, yeah, this is awesome. I've accomplished so much. And then you get older and you're like, what have I accomplished this year that's different? And I think that your goals like start to change, where it's like, people aren't really asking what you're doing in your job. People are like, did you buy a house? Did you do this? Did you do this? And it's like very adult content, I guess you would say. So it feels weird. My whole point of this was, it feels weird turning 23. Obviously, I know there were a lot of great things that happened. I named a few of them. We went on a few tours in that span of time. I feel more comfortable in my role in my job. I would say the first time we did a headline tour as First to 11, I was very uncomfortable, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it because I felt like I didn't have enough practice. And I feel like this year I really like came into my own in my voice and in my presence and in my thoughts on, you know, what to do while we're on tour, what to do with fans, what to do with YouTube, what to do with covers, what to do with content. And I think it was all just really like a lot of slow burning maturing that happened over the past year. And that's why I feel a little bit unaccomplished, because I'm like, there was nothing really concrete that I could say I did that was like different than before. But I think it was not really about what I accomplished, but the way that I accomplished it, and that I just felt way more confident in myself and in my abilities. And I think that that is just something that I didn't have when I was younger. And I don't think it's that I didn't want it or I didn't feel like I had it. It's just different. Like when you're 18 or 19 years old, you're just truly not as comfortable and confident as you are when you're 22 or 23. And I think even last year I wasn't as comfortable as I am now. And I don't know if it is maturing or if it's really just practice or if it has nothing to do with it at all. And it's just what happens as you get older. But I just feel like my brain has matured. A serious thing that I can hear, my voice has matured. I just think I did a lot of steps in the past year from 22 to 23 of like helping myself more than I ever did. And I feel more selfish in a way almost in the past year that I'm like, I don't feel accomplished because I feel like I was just focused on myself. I feel like I was focused on making myself better and I ignored other things. And I was making myself better in my personal life and in my, work life. And it's like, but that is an accomplishment. And I think for so long, I've set aside any sense of myself to do whatever was what needed to be done for other people. And I feel like, again, that's just something that has matured in me in the past year where I'm like, no, you deserve a second to focus on yourself and you deserve to like understand how you're feeling and you deserve to like not like to do something and you deserve to have a hobby outside of singing. And I think it's just like something that developed in the past year. So when I was thinking about what to do and thinking about what to say, I was learning. There wasn't really something specific. I think it was just an overall maturing of mind, body, soul, to be like cliche about it, And I don't know if anybody else feels this way. And I feel like this chat with Audra is just me rambling, but I feel like everything is like that. And I just felt like I needed to come on and like talk about this. Because I think getting older is like a very weird thing. And I was always very, very scared of getting older and growing up because I was just like, what am I going to do with my life? What do I want to do? And I feel like now I'm less scared of it and I'm more like embracing it. And I think that was also a big switch in like my brain is just like, it's not a bad thing to get older. And I think it felt weird last year. Like it felt weird going from 21 to 22 because when I turned 21, I was like, I want to go out and I want to party with my friends. And that was it. And then I turned 22 and I was like, whoa, I'm an adult and I don't know what to do. And then in the past year, I feel like I figured it out. So I think I'm a little less scared of growing up, of getting older, because I think that in the past year, growing up and getting older, it's actually helped me in a lot of ways. And I would say you could ask any of my friends and they would be like, no, Audra like really like hated her birthday, hated growing up. Like I didn't like putting a number to like the way I was feeling, which I know a lot of people don't. And I know it's like a big joke, but like now I'm like, no, I'm like proud to be 23. And I've done a lot for a 23-year-old. And I feel very accomplished in what I've done in the past 23 years. And I feel like a lot of people can't say that when they're 23. So I think it was just a lot of like putting myself down and not like taking the compliment and not taking it in really what all I've done in the past 23 years. Because I was afraid of bragging. I was afraid of being, feeling too good for myself. Like, I'm always just like, you can do better, you can do better, you can do better, which I still am because that's just the type of person I am. That's the type of mindset I have. But there's something about it now where I'm like, I feel proud of being 23. I feel proud of what I've accomplished at 23. And now I think I realize how young 23 is. And this sounds like stupid. It's like, duh, of course you're young. But like in my brain, if you would have told me like 3 years ago, I would have been terrified to tell you what I was going to be doing at 23. I couldn't even think that far ahead. I didn't want to. I didn't want to think about getting older. I didn't want to think about maturing. I just wanted to have fun and like be a kid. And now I'm like, okay, I'm out of that. I want to have fun and be an adult. I want to buy cool stuff for my house. I want to go golfing with my boyfriend even though I suck at it. Like, I want to get a house. I want to have a dog. And it's just like, those are goals. But they're like attainable goals that sometimes I think like at 23, it wouldn't be possible. And so then I think back and I reflect and I'm like, no, you accomplished a lot in 23 years. You can do all of these things that you want to do. You can have a dog. You can go do this when you want to go do it. You can get a house if you want to get a house. And it's just like, that's crazy that I did all of that when I didn't even realize that's what I was doing. I didn't realize that it was leading up to like this moment where when I wanted to start doing very adult things, I just could. And so I think that's really cool. And that's like a big realization that I've come to this year, is just the gathering of all the years of growing up, and not just looking into the past year and not just looking 1 year ahead, and really looking into the future and saying like, thank you to past me for doing what I did so that I could have a good future and I can do what I want to do still. So I guess that's what's been on my mind, and that's what it's been like for me getting older. I don't know if anybody feels the same way, or if this is just a very one-sided chat with Audra where I'm just telling you and you're just absorbing this and you're not relating to it at all. But that's how I've kind of felt about getting older. I've definitely come into my own with like the idea of growing up now, even though it was really hard for me at first. But I do feel a lot better, and I feel like I just needed to tell people about it. I was like, I'm gonna be like a therapist to myself and maybe to you guys while you're watching this too. But that's the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed. This was like the deep, dark Audra Secrets episode of Chat with Audra. So I hope you enjoyed. And remember, like always, if you have any ideas or questions or whatever for this segment, please leave it in the comments. I always read and go through them to pick out what will come out next month. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and if you haven't already, turn on that notification bell so you don't miss an upload every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye. See you next week.